I'm David Pressa, and you're watching Cook Like a Bastard. Right now we have an all-request show to hearing from our fans out there. Tonight's request is Custard by a Bastard. Now, I'm not necessarily a bastard, but I might cook like one. We're going to make some custard here. This is a request by Phil Platt out there over in St. Paul, possibly even West St. Paul. Your ingredients for it, quite easy. It's just, I'm going to make a half of a batch here. So I'm using 1 cup of milk, 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, and I'm also directing this, so I have to take the shot so you can see all these things we're doing here. Cornstarch, milk, sugar, an egg, and some vanilla. So this is going to be exciting. First time I've ever even thought about making custard. But that's when you think about cooking, you think about cooking like a bastard. That's one thing. You say, what the hell? Custard? I can cook that. So anyhow, we're here on our stove where we're going to be warming up our milk. We're actually scalding our milk here. You know, that's cooking just so that it's just shy of a boil. So I don't want to have the heat on too high. So I'm putting my milk in there. I'm going to put the sugar and baking soda. I know I had this big thing about baking powder the other day, but this is baking soda. So baking powder, sorry, it's actually cornstarch. It has nothing to do with baking powder at all. And that's a good thing about it because I haven't poured it in yet, so you didn't know what it is. But as you see right here, it's cornstarch. All right, so cornstarch and sugar is in. And I'm going to whisk this all together here. I got to, again, I am directing this myself this evening, so some of the smooth transitions that you expect from the correct Cook Like a Bastard crew may not happen. So I've already whisked my egg, so I have 1 scrambled egg here, and we're going to watch this milk scald. We don't want to bring it to a boil, we want to scald it. And you know, when you cook like a bastard, you feel like you're being scalded all the time by public and by just the pure energy and things you have going when you're here in the kitchen. Well, this milk is going to make the most delectable custard I've ever made. Now, granted, I've never made custard before, but I guarantee you it will be the best custard I have ever made. And let's switch back to camera 1 here. To watch some whisking. Well, make sure that the cornstarch is mixed, and that's actually the real concern, that the sugar dissolves and the cornstarch doesn't get too cloddy, which it might do. So I'm going to finish scrambling my egg here. A lot more dissolves in today's production. That's because I'm clicking the wrong button. There's those of you watching this show out here in internet land. So that egg is good. And now we're just waiting for the scalding process to happen. Not a lot more exciting than being in the kitchen, waiting in anticipation as the milk is getting closer and closer to scalding. I can feel the heat just brewing up in it. And why I just got to talk is because the chance of the audio actually being correct enough to hear me, pretty much non-existent. So I can talk about anything, but I'm actually going to be talking about the milk that I am scalding right now in dissolved camera 1. Okay, so once the milk does scald, we're going to pour a little bit of it into the egg and mix that into there, and then pour it back until it thickens. We don't want it to boil. For God's sakes, we don't want it to boil. All right. Not quite scalded yet. So I have a tablespoon in my hand. It kind of reminds me just of some things we want to know, that one tablespoon is the same as 12 quarter teaspoons. Just a little trivia for you there here at the Cook Like a Bastard Studios, as we have nothing to do right now except wait for the milk to scald. And that's even closer to scalding. I'm seeing it happen before my very eyes. I'm going to take to turn down the heat, take a couple tablespoons of the milk and pour it in with the egg. Quickly take chop cam mix this in. I need 3 hands because now I want to get this cord out of there and go back to stove can. And we are going to pour a steady stream of this into here while we rapidly whisk this into the milk here. Speed is of the essence. Just turn our rear burner back on. And we're going to do some more stirring. So this is going to take a couple minutes here while it thickens. And then once that happens, I need to put a 1/4 teaspoon. I need to actually put a 1/2 teaspoon or 2 1/4 teaspoons of vanilla in it. After it starts to solidify here. We'll remove it from the heat again. Now the thing about custard, you don't actually think about eating it very often, and I couldn't even tell you the last time that I had it. Now, frozen custard, that's not a bad deal, I've learned over time. I was a little afraid of it for a while because I know some people just really don't like custard, and I ended up being afraid of the frozen custard. And the frozen custard, pretty darn good. And this actually is pretty good smelling. I mean, as I said, it's pretty close to the best custard I have ever made. So this is starting to thicken up right now. We don't want it to boil. So as we wait for this to thick up, then we're going to pour it into our 3 ramekins here, which we can see right there. If I take that out of the way, move the cornstarch, and it's going to be a lovely presentation. Go back to the stove here for a sec. Not bad. I think it's actually thickening up pretty good. I'm going to put my 2 1/4 teaspoons. You could save time. You might want to put a whole 1/2 teaspoon in here. I just didn't get around to that. Okay, so I put this in. I'm going to whisk the vanilla into here. Put it over heat just a second more. Turn that off. Switch to chop can. And here you go. I'm going to pour this into my little ramekin. I should be doing it the other way. That's good hot like that even. The oven is off. Now I'm going to put just a smidgen of cinnamon on it, on top. I think it needs a little something. I'll be right back. So I'm going to go to the spice drawer over here and see what it might be needing. I'm not sure what that something is, but maybe, just maybe, a hint of nutmeg might really put this thing over the top. It's a pretty simple collection here to make our custard. We put this in the fridge to let it sit up, but that's pretty much what it is. And this was Cook Like a Bastard by request. See you next time when we'll make something that you want us to make. Until then, I'm David Preston, and you're watching Cook Like a Bastard. Catch you later.